Let's make this simple. Let's make this clear. You're not a commodity. You are unique. You are not interchangeable. You're unique and recognizable, and you can own your place in the world. And that's what we're talking about today. Let's go. Hey there. My name is Ed Howie, and this is Howie Grow a Brand.
1, 2, 3.
If you like what you learned from this episode, subscribe to our channel, and hey, smash that like button. You ready to go? Let's get on to today's chat. Nothing compares to you. I hate the concept of comparison because comparison means that we're constantly judging ourselves compared in the reflection of something else. And I don't know about you, I'm a pretty confident guy, but I'm also not always fully honest with myself about the strengths I've been given. And what I mean by that is that in the guise of humility, I tend to downplay my strengths and I tend to try to celebrate the strengths of others. And that's admirable to a degree, but the problem is that oftentimes when we try to compare ourselves to others, we try to figure out how we fall short versus how we exceed. There's a whole nother episode to explain that. But it's true, right? So, where does comparison play into the life we exist? Well, you know, when we look at ourselves as humans and we look at ourselves as marketers and branders, there's a concept that is foundational in our strategy that we talk about here oftentimes on How You Grow a Brand about being a commodity versus being a brand. And we talk a lot about brands, but let's talk a little bit right now about being a commodity. And let me be clear, especially, you know, if you can't watch this entire episode right now, which I want you to watch the entire episode, but if you only hear one thing, you are not a commodity. You and me, we are not a commodity. We are not a commodity, okay? We are distinct. We're magical. We're wonderful. We are unique. But why is it that we tend to downplay our uniqueness? Whether or not we celebrate others, we downplay our uniqueness. We oftentimes don't think we measure up. And so what we do is we roll back from the fullness of life through the fullness of being the trueness of us, and we play like a commodity. We act like when we walk in a room, it doesn't matter. We act like that no one can see us through the clutter and confusion of everything else. We act like we're not worthy of recognition. I disagree with the concept, even though my behavior doesn't always, more now than in the past, but doesn't always represent that. So how can you and I be better at being the brand we are and not playing to being a commodity? Well, first we've got to understand what a commodity is. A commodity is something that is interchangeable. It is something that doesn't matter whether it is from this source or this source, whether it's this being or this being, the just pure deliverable of it, like corn. Doesn't really matter who the farmer is, doesn't matter really what the crop is. It's just, is it to the standard, the universal standard of corn? And is it interchangeable, meaning that if I have some of your corn and some of my corn and we sell it all as corn, then no one can really tell the difference. It's basically homogeneous. Okay, it's basically indiscernible. Now, there have been more days in my life that I've played homogeneous and indiscernible. And I believe that has been a mistake. Has been an error in judgment. When someone compliments you for a distinction of yours, to blow it off, to disregard it, to minimize it is not humility, it's dishonesty. When someone walks up to you and says, "Oh my gosh, you're brilliant," and you say, "No, not really, it was nothing," versus, "Oh my gosh, you're brilliant. Thank you. Thank you for acknowledging that. Thank you for affirming me in that. Thank you for even sharing that you thought that." See the difference? My question is, Why do we want to play like a commodity when we are distinctly us? And I found that as business leaders, if we're not comfortable living into the fullness of who we are created ourselves, it is very hard, if nearly impossible, to inspire those around us, whether it be our team, our clients, our customers, our vendors, our compadres, our closest friends, our family. It's very hard to inspire others to live into the full uniqueness of themselves when we are playing a short game, when we're playing with a light that is intentionally dimmer than it should be. So, my question to you and to me and to you today is, how can I be less of commodity and more of a distinct brand, a distinct identity, a distinct presence in the world? Well, for me, you've heard me talk about it before, but I want to share with you a couple thoughts from Marcus Buckingham, who was one of the founders of Gallup StrengthsFinder. This is a newer version of the book by Don Clifton, StrengthsFinder 2.0. Marcus Buckingham has been a part of the StrengthsFinder and the Strengths movement for years. And let me share with you 3 things that he says about distinction and strengths, and thus how we are not a commodity. So he says that focusing on strengths is the surest way to greater job satisfaction, team performance, and organizational excellence, let alone personal excellence. He goes on to share that strengths are not activities you're good at. They're activities that strengthen you. So when we live into the fullness of ourselves, when we do not commoditize ourselves, we are strengthening ourselves. A strength is an activity that before you're doing it, you look forward to doing it. While you're doing it, time goes by quickly and you can concentrate on it. And after you're done, it seems to fulfill a need of yours that maybe you didn't even recognize. When I realized that my 5 core strengths are ideation, strategic, winning others over, connectedness, and positivity, I realized that I am not replaceable. Meaning that the unique role that I play in this world, no one else can do just the way I'm going to do it. Now, it doesn't mean there's not other people that have those strengths, but the way those strengths combine with my personalities, my giftedness, my energy, my me, that is mine to own. Versus, how can I get it to the lowest common denominator? How can I play the smallest game and be indistinguishable? If you're struggling with this, I encourage you to pick up StrengthsFinder and really understand exactly what your core strengths are. Because what that does is that brings you into awareness of, hey, I matter. We are not commodities. We are individuals. We are distinct. We are unique. If we were a commodity, we would be interchangeable. You are not interchangeable. If we were a commodity, we would be unrecognizable. You are unique and you are recognizable. And if we were a commodity, we would have no place to own in the world. The world would just put us wherever they wanted us. And that is not you, and that is not me. When we live in the fullness of ourselves, we own the place and are calling our world. And it is wonderful. I don't want my business enterprises to be a commodity, and I don't want you to see yourself as a commodity. Because you're not. The best next step, if you don't truly understand how you're uniquely designed, go to StrengthsFinder. Do the survey. Let it tell you, let it give you some insights into exactly how you're built, how you're designed, how you're wired, how you're equipped. And this is really why it matters. Because we all got stuff to do. We all got stuff to be. We all got stuff to make happen. When we align our strengths uniquely against the obstacle in front of us, We are stronger than we ever imagined we could be. And as Marcus Buckingham shares, the difference between a pebble and a mountain lies in whom you ask to move it. So let's live into the fullness of that. I sure hope this helps you with your brand, your business, your life. As importantly, I hope this has inspired your day. If you'd like to learn more about me or how I grow a brand, go to edhowie.com. Or better yet, if you want to book me to come speak to your group, click Book Ed to Speak, and I'll bring the woo to you. Can't wait to see you next time on How We Grow a Brand.